If you're tired of giving your best and still watching everything fall apart, if you've worked hard, trusted people, believed in yourself, and yet life keeps pushing you to the edge, this message is for you. Maybe you've lost something recently. A dream, a relationship, your sense of direction. Maybe you wake up every morning with that heavy feeling in your chest, wondering if you're ever going to catch a break. You look around, and it feels like everyone else is moving forward, except you. But what if I told you there's another way to live? A way to stop fighting against life and start moving with it. A way to stand calm in the middle of chaos. Not because you're naive, but because you've learned to trust the process. The ancient Stoics discovered this centuries ago, that your peace, your power, and your purpose don't depend on what happens to you, but on how you choose to respond. This isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about mastering yourself so deeply that nothing outside of you can destroy your inner world. By the end of this video, you'll know 7 Stoic truths that will shift the way you see setbacks, how you handle uncertainty, and how you rise when life knocks you down. If you've ever thought, why does this keep happening to me? If you've ever whispered, I can't take this anymore, then stay, because today you'll discover how to act as if everything always works out for you, not by hoping for miracles, but by becoming one. This isn't theory. This is Stoicism lived, philosophy turned into fire, Stoic truth. 1. Trust the timing, not the timeline. We live in a world obsessed with timelines. Get the degree by 22, find love by 30, be successful before your hair turns grey. Invisible clocks tick louder than our own hearts, and we measure our worth by how well we keep pace with them. But life doesn't follow your schedule. It never has. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And part of mastering yourself means releasing the illusion that you control time. You don't. You never did. You can't rush your becoming. You can't force what isn't ready to bloom. What you can control, what's always yours, is how you show up right now, in this moment. When you act as if everything works out for you, you stop fighting the pace of your journey. You stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. You start understanding that delays aren't denials. They're often divine orchestrations you can't see yet. That job you didn't get might have protected you from burnout. That breakup might have opened space for a love that truly fits your soul. That business failure might have trained your discipline for the one that's about to thrive. Trusting the timing means you plant seeds without obsession over the harvest. You water them, you nurture them. You let the sun and the seasons do their work, and you trust that growth is happening even when nothing seems to move. You wouldn't dig up a seed every day to check if it's growing. Yet that's what most of us do with our goals. We panic when progress isn't visible. We doubt when silence lasts too long. But growth is often invisible. Roots deepen before branches stretch. When you act as if everything works out, you trust that your life has a rhythm wiser than your anxiety. You stop treating patience as punishment and start seeing it as power. The oak tree doesn't stress about becoming an oak tree. It doesn't compare itself to the pine. It simply grows, trusting that what it's meant to be, it will become in time. That's the energy you need. Quiet confidence in divine timing, even when it feels painfully slow. When you trust the timing, you stop postponing peace until things make sense. You find peace in the alignment between your effort and your surrender, between your ambition and your acceptance. Today, release the timeline. Stop letting imaginary deadlines steal your joy. You're not late. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you're meant to learn. And when you act as if everything works out, you'll start to notice how often it does. Just not always in the way or time frame you expected. Stoic. Truth number 2. Reframe every setback as setup. There comes a moment for everyone. The moment when the plan collapses, the promotion goes to someone else, the relationship ends, The dream that once kept you alive quietly dies, and you stand there surrounded by the wreckage asking, why? You replay every decision, every chance you took. You wonder if you were ever meant to win at all. But here's what the Stoics knew, and what you must remember. The obstacle is not blocking your path, it is the path. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He didn't write that for an audience. He wrote it in the dark to himself when the weight of an empire pressed on his chest. When you act as if everything works out for you, you look at what's breaking and whisper, "This is working for me." Not because you enjoy pain, but because you understand that pain has purpose. Every setback carries hidden data, invisible direction. That failed business, it taught you resilience, discipline, humility. That heartbreak, it revealed the parts of you still waiting to be healed. That rejection, it redirected you toward alignment. When you train your mind to see setbacks as setups, life stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like preparation. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Friction refines you. The universe doesn't test you to see if you will break. It tests you to reveal that you won. Every storm that shook you has strengthened roots you can't see. Every closed door was protection disguised as disappointment. Every detour rerouted you toward wisdom. Think of the butterfly trapped inside its cocoon. If someone tries to help by cutting it free, it dies, because it needed the struggle to build strength for flight. Your struggles serve the same sacred function. To the untrained mind, the cocoon looks like confinement. To the wise, it's transformation. So when you lose something, ask not, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this making possible for me?" Shift the question, and you shift the power. A man who views every misfortune as fuel becomes unstoppable. You can't discourage him because he extracts wisdom from pain the way alchemists extracted gold from lead. It's what the Stoics called amor fati, the love of fate. Not mere acceptance, but love. Loving even the parts that hurt because you trust they're necessary. Nietzsche later echoed this when he said, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity." That kind of radical acceptance doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. Because when nothing that happens can rob you of meaning, nothing that happens can defeat you. Remember the child building the sandcastle at the tide's edge. They know the waves will come, yet they build anyway. When the sea reclaims everything, they laugh, they run, they start again. That is amor fati in motion. You once lived that way. You can again. Reframing setbacks is a practice. Your brain was wired for survival, not serenity. It searches for danger, not growth. But each time you choose a different interpretation, you rewire it. You teach your mind. Nothing is wasted. That's the Stoic advantage. Others crumble when plans fail. You adapt. Others despair at endings. You see beginnings disguised as endings. Others curse the rain. You plant seeds. When life hits you, pause and whisper, "This too is working for me." Not someday, now. You can grieve and still trust. You can hurt and still have hope. These are not contradictions. They are the fullness of being human. Think about the farmer whose horse runs away. The neighbors cry, "Such bad luck." He replies, "Maybe." The horse returns with a herd of wild horses. "Such good luck," they shout. "Maybe," he answers again. His son breaks his leg, taming one of them. "Terrible luck," they mourn. "Maybe," he says. Then war comes, and his son, injured, is spared from battle. "Wonderful luck," they rejoice. And the farmer simply smiles. "Maybe." Wisdom lives in that word, because you rarely know in the moment whether fortune is blessing or curse. So why suffer twice, once from the event and once from your judgment of it? When you reframe setbacks as setups, you stop being a victim of randomness and become a student of providence. You recognize that nothing real can be lost and nothing necessary will ever pass you by. So next time life takes something from you, instead of collapsing, get curious. Ask, what strength is being born in me right now? What lesson am I meant to master? Then act as if the loss itself was instruction. Because maybe it is. Maybe the universe just redirected you to something better. That's Stoic truth too. Reframe every setback as setup. Because the moment you believe that everything is working for you, even your failures start to serve you. Stoic truth 3. Surrender control. Strengthen trust control. The most seductive illusion we chase. We cling to it like a lifeline. We plan, we predict, we push. We tell ourselves, if I just work harder, worry longer, prepare better, everything will finally go my way. But life doesn't bend to our demands. It moves according to laws older than our fears. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about that. Most of your suffering isn't from what's happening. It's from what you think should be happening, from your desperate attempts to control what was never yours to command. When you try to control everything, you exhaust yourself. You fight battles that don't exist. You lose sleep over outcomes that were never in your hands. The Stoics knew this. Peace begins the moment you separate what is within your control from what is not. It's the foundation of all Stoic practice, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught, "Some things are in our power and others are not." He lived this truth as a slave, yet he was freer than most emperors. Think about that paradox. A man with chains on his body had no chains on his mind. He couldn't control his masters, but he could control his thoughts. He couldn't command circumstances, but he could command his response. That's where your power lies too. You don't control the weather, the traffic, the economy, or the people around you. You don't control who stays or leaves, what they say, what they think. You don't control the timing of blessings or the arrival of opportunities. You control you, your effort, your focus, your integrity, your attitude, your response. That's it, but it's everything. When you act as if everything works out for you, you let go of the need to micromanage the universe. You do your part, then release the rest. You learn the sacred art of surrender. Surrender is not weakness. It's the ultimate expression of trust. It means saying, "I've done my best. Now life can do the rest." It means acting with purpose, but without panic. It means working hard, but holding your plans loosely. Picture this. You're trying to hold water in your fist. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. But when you cup your hands gently, the water stays. That's how life works. Control comes not from force, but from flow. When you surrender, you create space for miracles to unfold. When you stop trying to force outcomes, outcomes often arrive naturally. Because you've stepped out of fear and into alignment. Fear says, "I must make it happen." Faith says, "I'll do my part and trust the rest." The Stoics didn't believe in blind optimism. They believed in wisdom guided by action. They practiced surrender through presence, focusing only on what was theirs to do in this moment. So how do you surrender control? You start by catching yourself in the act of worrying. Every time your mind spirals into what-ifs, pause. Ask yourself, is this mine to control? If yes, act. If no, release. You'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel when you stop trying to carry what is not yours. When you surrender control, you stop resisting reality. Resistance is what creates friction. Acceptance is what creates peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs." He wasn't speaking from comfort. He was writing from the battlefield, from illness, from betrayal. He was reminding himself that life unfolds exactly as it must. You don't need to fight the river. You need to learn to swim with it. Surrender means replacing your craving for certainty with a commitment to presence, because certainty is an illusion, but presence is real. Ask yourself, how many hours, days, or years have I wasted worrying about things that never happened? How many times did I trade peace for control and still lose both? You don't need more control, you need more trust. Trust doesn't mean believing everything will be easy. It means believing that everything will be useful. Even pain, even confusion, even waiting. Every delay is data. Every detour is direction. Every heartbreak is training your heart to expand. When you trust, you let go of the illusion that life is against you. You realize life is constantly trying to evolve you, not punish you. And so you act differently. You stop over-analyzing. You stop chasing validation. You stop begging life to unfold faster. Instead, you move with faith. You work with peace. You speak with calm certainty. It's all unfolding exactly as it should. Think about the seasons. Winter doesn't rush into spring. The trees don't panic when their branches are bare. They know the bloom is coming. Can you live like that, trusting your own seasons? Surrender doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what matters most, with serenity instead of desperation. It means detaching from results, not from effort. You still plant seeds, you still show up, you still care deeply. You just stop demanding that the universe obey your calendar. Because the truth is, life's timing is wiser than your anxiety. And when you release control, life starts surprising you in ways control never could. Suddenly, the opportunity you chased appears effortlessly. The right person arrives at the perfect time. The door you thought was locked opens on its own because you stopped pushing it and started trusting it. That's the paradox. You get what you used to chase when you no longer need to have it. So breathe. Relax your grip. The universe knows what it's doing. Trust is a practice, and it's built one surrender at a time. Every time you let go of something you can't control, you strengthen that muscle. Soon your default state becomes calm confidence, a quiet knowing that you'll always be guided, always protected, always provided for. That's Stoic truth number 3, surrender control, strengthen trust. Because the moment you stop trying to control everything, you start allowing everything to work for you. Stoic truth 4, act with certainty. Even in uncertainty, there's a special kind of paralysis that grips us when we can see what comes next. We hesitate, we stall, we wait for clarity that never arrives. We tell ourselves, once I'm sure, then I'll move. But life doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards movement. You've been there, standing at the edge of a decision, praying for a sign, waiting for the road to light up before you take the first step. And maybe you've realized by now that sign doesn't come. Not because the universe is silent, but because the universe is waiting for you to move first. The Stoics understood something we keep forgetting. Certainty is not discovered. It's created. It's not found before action. It's built through action. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." He didn't say, "Wait until you're sure, and then maybe begin." He said, "Decide who you are, and act from that decision." That's the key. Identity before action, action before clarity. When you act as if everything works out for you, you stop waiting to feel ready. You move first and let confidence catch up later. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't study balance first. They don't wait until they're certain they won't fall. They wobble, stumble, fall again and again. But something deep inside whispers, "Keep going," and eventually, through falling, they learn to walk. Through walking, they learn to run. Certainty comes the same way, by moving through uncertainty. Most people spend their lives waiting for the fear to disappear before they take the leap. But courage isn't at the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." In other words, don't overthink it. Act. If it can be done, do it. If it must be faced, face it. You can't control the entire road ahead. You can only take the next step. And here's the secret. When you take that step, the next one appears. The bridge builds itself under your feet, but only once you start walking. That's how life works. That's how faith works. That's how Stoicism becomes real. To act with certainty in uncertainty doesn't mean pretending you have all the answers. It means moving as if you'll find them along the way. It means making decisions based on values, not fear. On direction, not doubt. The world is full of people who wait. Wait for approval. Wait for confidence. Wait for the perfect time that never comes. But the people who build empires, write history, and transform lives, they act. They make choices that scare them. They step into rooms they don't feel ready for. They speak even when their voice shakes. They act as if it will work out. And because of that energy, it often does. A tightrope walker doesn't stare down at the fall. They focus forward. They trust their training. They move one careful, intentional step at a time. They don't act because they fearless. They act because they've made peace with fear. That's what you must learn. Stop waiting for fear to leave you. Start walking with it beside you. Stop waiting for confidence to appear. Build it through motion. Confidence is momentum, not magic. When you act decisively, your mind quiets. Action silences doubt. You don't think your way into certainty, you act your way into it. Ask yourself, what have I delayed because I was waiting for perfect timing? What have I postponed because I wanted guarantees? What dreams are gathering dust because I'm still waiting to feel ready? You'll never feel fully ready, and that's the point. You grow into readiness through action. When you act as if everything works out, you don't ignore uncertainty. You transcend it. You look it in the eye and say, I may not know how this ends, but I know who I am. And who you are, when you live by Stoic principles, is unshakable. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. That's Stoic leadership. That's inner power. When you take decisive action, even small steps, your world responds. Opportunities notice movement. Life rewards momentum. Doors open for those already walking. So go. Start the business. Make the call. Have the conversation. Move to the city. Publish the post. Begin the thing you've been postponing, because the longer you wait, the louder fear becomes. And fear feeds on hesitation. Action starves it. You don't need to see the entire sky to trust the sunrise. You don't need to know every outcome to take the next breath. You just need to move with faith, even when the path is foggy. Each time you choose movement over paralysis, you strengthen certainty. Each time you act despite doubt, you rewire your nervous system for courage. Eventually, confidence becomes your default. Fear loses its grip, and uncertainty transforms into adventure. That's when life becomes thrilling again, not predictable but purposeful. You become the kind of person who steps into the unknown, not with panic, but with poise. Because you've learned that the unknown isn't your enemy, it is your evolution. So walk boldly, act with certainty, speak your truth, take the next step. Even when you can't see the whole path, remember, the bridge appears as you walk. That's Stoic truth 4. Act with certainty, even in uncertainty. Because when you believe things will work out, you start behaving like someone for whom they already have. Stoic truth 5. Find the gift in every moment. Life hides its treasures in strange places. Sometimes they're wrapped in loss, sometimes they're disguised as pain, and sometimes they're buried so deeply inside your worst moments that you don't recognize them until years later. But they're always there. The Stoics believed this with absolute conviction, that nothing is purely good or bad until you decide what it means. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. To breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This was not a man living in luxury or ease. He faced war, betrayal, sickness, and the weight of leading an empire. Yet even in the middle of chaos, He could see the gift, to wake up, to feel, to exist. Most people forget this. We treat our lives like a checklist of problems to fix instead of a miracle to witness. We wait for something extraordinary to happen before we feel grateful, never realizing that the extraordinary is happening right now. Finding the gift doesn't mean pretending the pain isn't real. It means choosing to look deeper, to ask, what is this moment giving me that comfort never could? Every experience, even the painful ones, contains wisdom. But you have to be willing to look for it. When you act as if everything works out for you, you train your perception to look beyond the surface. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what for me? What strength is this building? What truth is this revealing? What part of me is being called to evolve right now? Gratitude is the bridge between suffering and strength. It's not denial, it's transformation. You can hold grief and gratitude at the same time. You can cry and still give thanks. You can lose something and still see what remains. That's maturity, that's spiritual strength, that's Stoicism alive inside your heartbeat. Think of coal and diamonds, same element, carbon. The only difference is pressure and time. The diamond doesn't curse the pressure. It allows itself to be transformed by it. Your pain works the same way. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to refine you. Every challenge you face is the universe saying, there's more in you than you realize. Let me show you. When you find the gift in the moment, you become unbreakable. Because even if life takes away everything, you still have meaning. And meaning is something no storm can steal. Seneca wrote, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he is not." This isn't resignation, it's liberation. When you learn to see life as a series of gifts, even the disguised ones, you stop chasing happiness and start recognizing it. Try this. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself one question. What was the gift in today? Maybe it was small, a smile from a stranger, a problem solved, a conversation that made you feel seen. Maybe it was big, a moment of realization, a boundary you finally enforced, a truth that set you free. Even the tiniest awareness shifts your perception, because here's what happens when you practice gratitude at this level. You reprogram your mind to look for blessings instead of burdens, and whatever you focus on, you multiply. Find the gift, and life gives you more to be grateful for. Find only problems, and life gives you more of them too. That's not mystical, that's psychology. Your brain filters reality through attention. Train it toward gratitude, and you literally reshape your experience of being alive. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your world." You can walk through the same storm as someone else, same circumstances, same pain, and still find peace, because peace is perception. The Stoics called this the discipline of perception. It's the art of choosing your interpretation wisely. Every difficulty contains two stories, the one that breaks you and the one that builds you. You decide which one to tell. Finding the gift doesn't make you naive, it makes you powerful, because you refuse to give darkness the final word. Even the moments that look meaningless have hidden purpose. The delay that frustrated you might have kept you safe. The rejection that hurt you might have redirected you. The silence that scared you might have given you space to grow. Sometimes the greatest gifts are the ones that never arrive, the relationships that never happened, the plans that fell apart, the paths that never opened. Absence itself can be grace. This is what happens when you act as if everything works out for you. You start seeing that life was never random. It was refining you all along. Every twist, every loss, every lonely night was part of your preparation. The gift was never the thing itself. It was who you became because of it. When you wake up tomorrow, remember, You are not owed another day. You are given one. Every breath, every conversation, every challenge is an opportunity to grow. And if you choose to see the world through that lens, you'll realize you've been surrounded by gifts all along. You just weren't paying attention. That's Stoic Truth 5. Find the gift in every moment. Because when you do, nothing that happens can truly be taken from you. It all becomes fuel for your becoming. Stoic Truth 6. Respond, don't react. There's a space, invisible but powerful, between what happens to you and what you do next. Most people never find it. They live like puppets, pulled by emotions they don't understand. Someone cuts them off in traffic, anger erupts. Someone criticizes them, they explode or collapse. Plans fall apart. Panic takes over. They give their peace away like loose change. But the Stoics discovered that the difference between peace and chaos, freedom and slavery, strength and weakness, lies in that tiny space between stimulus and response. Viktor Frankl, the Stoic of the modern age, who survived the Nazi concentration camps, wrote, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." He found freedom inside a prison because he discovered that nothing and no one could control his mind unless he allowed it. That's the same freedom available to you, right now, in the middle of your everyday storms. When you act as if everything works out for you, you protect that space like sacred ground. You stop letting external chaos dictate your internal state. You stop being a slave to moods, triggers, and impulses. You become the master of your inner world. Reaction is instinct. Response is intelligence. Reaction is the past replaying itself. Response is presence choosing anew. When you react, you hand over your power. You let circumstances define your state. You let other people's behavior decide your energy. You let fear choose your words. But when you respond, you reclaim your sovereignty. You slow down, you breathe. You remember that your dignity isn't negotiable. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was reminding himself daily that his emotions were his responsibility. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. To respond instead of react, you must first become aware of your inner weather. When a storm rises inside you, anger, jealousy, anxiety, don't fight it and don't feed it. Just notice it, name it. I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling the urge to lash out. Naming separates you from the emotion. You are not the anger, you are the awareness behind it. That's the pause where freedom begins. Reacting is easy, responding is mastery. It's the discipline that turns ordinary men into sages. It's what made the Stoics so powerful, not because they were cold, but because they were conscious. They didn't suppress emotion, they observed it, they let it teach them. They used it as data, not destiny. Seneca said, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." He understood that most suffering isn't T from what happens, it's S from how we amplify it. A single insult can ruin your day, but only if you decide to carry it. A small inconvenience can destroy your peace, but only if you hand it that power. So the next time something triggers you, pause. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, respond with wisdom, not impulse. Imagine a master martial artist. They don't react to every attack with panic. They remain centered, composed. They move only when it matters, with purpose, with control. That's what responding looks like in life. You move when it matters. You speak when it's wise. You choose when it's necessary. The rest, you release. This is emotional discipline, the rarest form of power. In a world addicted to outrage and noise, calm is rebellion. Silence is strength. When you respond, not react, you become the still point in the storm. People feel your steadiness. They trust your presence. You radiate peace that can't be faked, the kind that comes from self-mastery. Think of a lake on a windless morning. Drop a stone into it and it ripples gently, evenly, beautifully. Drop the same stone into turbulent water and it splashes wildly. The stone is life. You choose the water. If your mind is turbulent, every small event feels catastrophic. If your mind is still, nothing can shake you. When you act as if everything works out for you, you learn to protect your peace like treasure. You stop rushing to judgment. You stop adding drama to disappointment. You stop reacting from ego and start responding from essence. You become the person people turn to when chaos hits. Not because you have all the answers, but because you don't lose yourself looking for them. That's power. Responding instead of reacting also changes your relationships. Arguments dissolve faster. Conversations deepen. Respect grows for yourself and from others because people can feel when they're speaking to someone who isn't emotionally hijacked, someone who's grounded, someone who sees, listens, and understands before speaking. That's rare. That's Stoic strength. The next time anger rises, pause. The next time fear whispers, breathe. The next time someone tries to pull you into chaos, smile. You're not here to match their energy. You're here to raise it. And remember, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to react to every provocation. You don't have to prove your peace to anyone. Just live it. That's Stoic Truth 6. Respond, don't react. Because mastery of emotion isn't the absence of feeling. It is the ability to feel deeply without losing your center. Stoic Truth 7. Become evidence of what you believe. Belief means nothing without embodiment. You can say you trust the process. You can post quotes about patience and resilience. You can repeat affirmations every morning. But if your actions, your energy, and your daily choices don't match your words, you don't believe it yet. The Stoics never bragged about being stoic. They lived it. Marcus Aurelius didn't write for admiration. He wrote to remind himself how to endure. Epictetus didn't theorize about freedom. He embodied it while chained. Seneca didn't preach simplicity. He practiced it, even while surrounded by luxury. They understood something modern minds often forget. Wisdom is not what you know, it's what you do. Your life is your philosophy in motion. Your habits are your prayers. Your behavior is your belief system made visible. So ask yourself, what do my actions say I believe? Do I act like someone who trusts timing? Do I move like someone who knows setbacks serve me? Do I live like someone who believes everything works out for me? If the answer is no, good, you've just found your work. Because belief begins as a seed and becomes real only when you water it with action. Act as if everything works out for you, and eventually, that becomes who you are. Not because you're pretending, but because repetition builds reality. When you live this way, you walk differently. Your voice carries calm. Your presence reassures others before you even speak. People feel safety around you because you've stopped radiating panic. They sense stability because you trust something deeper than circumstance. This is what real Stoicism looks like in the modern world. You show up early. You stay grounded when others gossip. You keep your word. You work without complaining. You practice gratitude when things go wrong. You apologize when you're wrong without shame. You stop chasing attention and start commanding respect. You become living evidence that it's possible to be calm in chaos, faithful in failure, unbreakable in uncertainty. Emerson said, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." That's what the world needs, not more talkers of truth, but walkers of it. When you embody your philosophy, your life becomes magnetic. You attract peace because you radiate it. You attract opportunity because you're reliable. You attract trust because you keep promises. The universe, life, whatever name you give it, responds to integrity, not perfection. Integrity. Integrity means alignment. Your thoughts, words, and actions all pointing in the same direction. That's when you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you stop fighting yourself. Think about the athlete who believes they'll win. They don't wait for the medal to start training like a champion. They eat like one, think like one, move like one long before anyone calls them one. Their belief isn't separate from their behavior. Their behavior is their belief made flesh. Do the same. Stop saying, "I trust the process." Start acting like it. Stop waiting for evidence. Become it. You prove your belief every time you stay calm in conflict, every time you trust a delay, every time you respond instead of react, every time you see a gift inside hardship. You prove it with consistency, not declarations. Music fades to a single piano note, then swells again. When you live this way long enough, something miraculous happens. You stop needing to act as if, because you are. You don't pretend everything works out for you. You know it does. Your life itself becomes the proof. You stop seeking signs because your days overflow with them. Doors open easily. People appear at the right time. Even obstacles start arriving with a strange sense of familiarity, like old teachers returning for one final lesson. It's not luck. It's alignment. You've tuned yourself to the frequency of faith. Every breath becomes gratitude. Every challenge becomes training. Every day becomes proof that Stoic wisdom is still alive. You've become the evidence. So let's remember the 7 truths you've learned on this path. Trust the timing, not the timeline. You're not late. You're being prepared. Reframe every setback as setup. What breaks you refines you. Surrender control, strengthen trust. Do your part, then let go. Act with certainty, even in uncertainty. Courage first, confidence follows. Find the gift in every moment. Gratitude turns pain into wisdom. Respond, don't react. The calm mind conquers chaos. Become evidence of what you believe. Live your philosophy. Don't just study it. These aren't theories, they're tools. They're the way to walk through life without being destroyed by it. The way to suffer without surrendering your peace. The way to win without arrogance and lose without despair. You don't need a perfect life to live well. You need a disciplined mind and an open heart. You are not what happens to you. You are what you choose to become in response to what happens. And the choice is always yours. So act as if everything works out for you. Not because it's easy, but because it transforms you. Not because you have proof yet, but because your belief creates the proof. Not because life promised you smooth seas, but because you've learned how to sail through storms. Your peace is your power. Your presence is your protection. Your philosophy is your freedom. If this message spoke to you, don't let it fade. Hit that like button right now. Drop a comment below. Tell me which Stoic truth hit you hardest. Share this with someone who needs to remember their strength. And subscribe, because what we're building here is bigger than motivation. It's transformation. You're not just watching a video. You are joining a movement, a community of modern Stoics who refuse to be ruled by fear, who believe in purpose, who walk with calm through chaos. So type it boldly in the comments right now. It works for me, because from this moment on, it does. This is Stoicism lived. This is strength remembered. This is your reminder. Everything is working for you, even now, especially now.